Okay, so this is me. There's a couple of comments that were like, oh, you're afraid to show your face, or you're no better than anyone else because you don't show your face, or something like that. So, here I am. I'm going to do this video as answering the questions. This is going to be I'm going to answer the questions I got in my 200 video thing. 200 subscribers video. Not thinking now. Hey look, you can see all my comics. There's some missing, like here, look. You can see that there's like comics all around, or trades, and I've got some lent out and stuff like that. And here, look, I have a spinny rack too. Just kind of full of comics. I used to have more, but I kind of weeded out at one point for I'm not thinking today. I weed out for just comics I like as opposed to comics in general. Okay, so let's get to the questions. I just have to pull them up here on the screen. And I don't know how this is going to come out shooting-wise or anything like that because this isn't my camera, it's my friend's camera. So don't expect there to be more like this. This is a one-time thing just because I'm borrowing it from my friend. Alright, let's see, let's find the first question. The first one is from Anime Rocker 17, which is, what do you think of the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon? I like it. I haven't seen a lot of it. Most of these cartoons that people ask me to review, I haven't seen a lot of. I don't get cable or anything like that. I think it's okay. From what I've seen of it, it looks really good. I was skeptical. It was kind of like, what was it called? It's kind of like the Transformers Animated. At first, it looked pretty bad to me, but I liked it quite a bit. I'm not crazy about the theme song, but and the designs, they grow on you. I thought it was well done. I would have preferred Ultimate Spider-Man, but for what it is, it's good. Okay, let's find the next one. Okay, this is from Swift and Satsu, who I've talked to on AIM. One is, do you consider yourself attractive? And if so, to what degree? Not really. Like, I don't necessarily consider myself unattractive or ugly. I don't view myself as attractive. I think maybe, like a lot of people, like I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, you know, I got this chin thing, I'm a little chubby, and I pick out all of my flaws, and so no, not really. I noticed that you took down your review of Dark Victory. Was the reason we'll be putting it back up, or will you be putting up a new one? Yeah, I've taken down a couple of my reviews that I'm going to redo, just because I don't like a lot of my earlier videos. If it was up to me, I'd take down all my earlier videos, but I know people won't like that, and I don't want to redo all of them. But Dark Victory, I reread, and I think as a standalone story, it's okay. It's the exact same thing as the first one, so I was a little bit more negative than I should have been. And his third question is, if you could choose a weapon from the Bible, would it be the Sword of Fire in the Garden of Eden or another? I've thought about this, and I can't think of any other weapons in the Bible. Now, the Sword of Fire I wouldn't want, because at least to me, the way that the verse reads is that there's a sword at the edge of Eden that turns this way and that, which you'd think would be sentient, or at least to me that sounds like it's a sentient floating sword. And I saw Inuyasha, the third movie. I know what happens when you start trying to wield sentient swords. It doesn't work out. I don't know. Samson's hair, does that count? I'd take Samson's hair. You know, go really, really, really long hair and just become really strong. I don't know. There aren't really a lot of weapons in the Bible. Let's see. What's the next one? Ha-hemp. I guess this is the last one. Oh, no. Ha-hemp asks, why did you start doing videos on YouTube, and who was your inspiration to start doing it? I started doing it just because, I don't know, I thought I had okay opinions, and I don't know a lot of I don't know a lot of people that like comic books, so I kind of wanted to do some comic book videos and get to talk to people who like comic books. So I've gotten to do a lot. I'm really happy. I've gotten to talk to a lot of people on IMDb. Not IMDb. God, I just can't talk it today. I got to talk to a lot of people on AIM about comic books, and people respond to my videos about comic books, and I really enjoy that. I've kind of come to concentrate on comic books. I do other things, but the gist of my reviews are comic books or comic book related. And, you know, that's kind of, I guess, why I started doing it, was to get people talking, to talk to other people, to stuff like that. And just, I thought that my opinions were possibly diverse and different enough from other people's that people might be interested in watching mine. As for inspirations, Confused Matthew, I really liked. His is scripted, and I don't do scripted, but I liked his a lot. And Spoony one. I mean, I love his normal videos, like he does the Final Fantasy VIII and all the game reviews and everything, but the ones that were really inspiration to me were the ones where he just sits down in front of a webcam and just starts talking. I love those. Those are my favorite ones of his videos. I wish he'd do those more. Whoops. I really enjoyed those. Yeah, that's really the only ones I'd say were an inspiration. I watch and enjoy a lot of people on YouTube, but those were kind of the big two inspirations. Actually, Spoony's videos, I watched them, I was like, hey, I can do that, but then I realized that it costs a lot of money to get a webcam that has good video. So, after I saw Confused Matthews, I'm like, hey, I can just talk into a mic and not have to show my face. So I did that. Just not scripted and not nearly as well edited as Confused Matthews. And then the last question is by New is the New Old, which is, do you worship a god, and if so, which one? Yes, I've mentioned this in some of my videos. I'm Christian. I don't like the dogmatic rules. I'm non-denominational because I don't like the dogmatic rules that humans have made and placed upon Christians. And I have a problem with a lot of Christians. I think a lot of Christians use the Bible as a way to criticize others, and I think the Bible should be used as a way to live your own life, not how to judge other people's lives. So those are all the questions that I got. Oh, actually, I got one more that I answered on here, but I'm going to answer it here, which is Arkham Asylum 13 asked if I have a MySpace. I don't have a MySpace, so if anyone else wants to know, I don't have one. So that should be it. Okay, I just got to do this short little thing before I get to the actual video. My last one I did like this. I got a comment saying, if I hate Twilight, why do I have a Twilight poster? Not Twilight. Lost Boys. Okay? Next to it is Iron Man. Also, not Twilight. And Speed Racer. Look at this. It's a nice piece of Speed Racer art. I have no idea who did this, but it's very nice. It was expensive. Got it when I was little. I used to really like Speed Racer. Oh, and in case anyone's wondering, my comic book collection has grown. It is alive. That's not even all my books. I've got some scattered about. Or, yeah. So, yes, constantly growing. This, on the other hand, doesn't grow much. I just get my 4 monthly books. And most of those end up around my room for about a month. So, yeah. There's another thing I wanted to mention. Oh, here it is. Okay. I'm going to reference this in the review that I do of it. But I wanted to get this on video so everybody knows what I'm talking about. Okay, let me just randomly pick a Marvel hardcover. Alright, here we go. This is pretty much standard for a Marvel hardcover. Don't ask what this is, I have no idea. It's like toothpaste or something. It's at my friend's house. Just character's name, a symbol. Here, look, I'll prove it to you. Here's X Factor. Same thing. Just the name. Here's what Marvel did with The Question. Look at that. That is a beautiful cover. Just an absolutely beautiful cover. I'm going to reference this in the review, but I wanted to get that out of the way first. Okay. on to the toy review. Alright, I'm going to do this a little bit different than most people do because I don't have the right lighting or camera. I'm actually going to hold the figure and show him to you. This is animated Grimlock. In dinosaur form, this is what he does. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? He can eat you. Alright. Dinosaur mode. Well, I guess I should go over Grimlock a little bit as a character. Grimlock generally is portrayed one of two ways. The more commonly known one is the idiot. Look, a lightsaber. This is because a lot of people saw Transformers the movie, the original '89 movie, where they portrayed him as such, as an idiot. And so that's how a lot of people have taken it. The other way, and the version that I really like, is this portrayal of Grimlock as, like, kind of like a combination of a barbarian and a, what would you call it? A samurai. Like, he's very savage, but he's very honorable. And, the animated version is actually somewhere kind of in between those two depictions. He definitely has a code of honor, but he's definitely still kind of stupid. Oh, one thing that's very nice about this toy is that they got the blue eyes right. Autobots have blue eyes, and normally, for some reason, Grimlock is depicted with red eyes. I'm guessing to make him look more menacing. Now, in this mode, there's one major flaw, and that's this back piece here. Because if you play with it, like, at all, well, it's not doing it now, but this piece comes loose really, really easily. Because it snaps in these pegs here, and it comes out easily. Maybe that's just mine. Though it does seem to be staying solid now. But a lot of times there's kind of issues with that back piece. So if you're trying to... For playing, this mode is not great. I mean, obviously for display, he looks, you know, pretty badass right there. He's got the little arms. Well, I guess he's not really sitting on his legs there. On his feet there. His feet are very nice. They've got the little... And they've got this weird ostrich-like crook to them. Same on both sides. And he can sit on them. Stand on them. It's a little hard to do with one hand, though. Yeah, see, look at that. Yeah, I kind of can't get this down with one hand, but, you know, he's kind of sitting. Pretty cool looking. Like I said, see, look, the back piece is already kind of opening up. Doesn't really stay. I'm pretty sure if you were to play with this, this would open really, really easy. So, this mode, if you're looking just to display it, it's probably going to be awesome. You're looking for something to play with, you're not going to want him in this mode. Alright, so, now we have Grimlock in his robot mode. This actually works a lot better than you'd think it would. This really stays. There's a nice little clicky thing on the bottom, so that dinosaur head really stays there. And again, they still have the blue eyes, which is awesome. I love his jaw. I don't know if you can really see that, but his jaw is kind of lower, or longer on the bottom. And then, you know, his feet become his arms, his back becomes his legs. He's a nice little figure. He also comes with this sword. It's a fiery sword. And there's a peg. Let me see if I can... Yeah, you can't really see it. There's a peg in here. You plug the sword in. It's hard to do with one hand. Oh. Come on. Alright, give me a second. Alright, and here we go. His nice, fiery volcano sword. And, if you turn his wrist, he's got these little flame things that come out. Isn't that cool? Actually, I wish it wasn't the wrist and it was more like a slashing motion that made it come out. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers. I really like this figure. This figure in this mode holds up a lot better than the other mode. So if you're going to play, this is the mode you want him in. For display piece, this is how I keep him, because I prefer robot mode. It's actually interesting because the stupid Grimlock always stays in dinosaur mode, while the honorable Grimlock always stays in robot mode. Kind of, I don't know, not a contradiction, but kind of two opposite extremes. And then, you know, the animated Grimlock kind of switches between both. As I said, he's kind of halfway between both types of Grimlock. So yeah, I think he's a good figure. I would definitely recommend picking him up. I mean, pretty much all the Walmarts around here had him. I've heard he's hard to find, but I didn't have any trouble. I'm actually, since I have some extra time, I'm going to do a second figure review. I'll be back with that in just a moment. Now, this is Green Arrow. Very, very nice face sculpt. Colors are a little bit off. The hat color really annoys me. It should match with this color. This, the green here. But it's kind of palish. I have no idea what this is. Like, I don't know what line it is or something. I know it comes from the animated universe, the DC animated universe. Maybe it's better if I did it over here. Kind of, look, there's my computer. I'm kind of seeing better there. No, because then you got the friggin' light there. Because I'm getting kind of a glare off him. No, he doesn't really have, like, his legs can't move. See, they just kind of sit there. His arms can just go like this. They can't even go full circle because of this thing here. This is a nice fit. I really like this. Some people, like even artists in the comics, will just draw like a standard quiver, but he actually has this like box thing, which is kind of cool. And they got the little individual frills going. That's pretty cool. The arrow, or the bow, I mean, it's alright. Actually, it should be in the other hand. I have no idea why I would put it in that hand. You shoot with the bow in your left hand. It's actually pretty not intelligent of me, especially since I shoot, or since I do archery, kind of, a little bit. Now, this is my biggest problem. This arrow. First of all, it's constantly falling out of his hand. It does not stay there. Like, it'll stay there, but, you know, you put it up and, you know, 2 hours later it's going to fall out of his hand for no reason. But, I mean, look at this thing. I mean, really look at it. Let's bring it back to the light. I mean, look at this. Does this look like an arrow to you? This looks like a missile they took off a G.I. Joe toy and just decided, hey, let's give it to Green Arrow because we have a scattered piece around. I mean, what is this? It doesn't plug into anything there. This is a horrible addition to the toy. It's pointless. Now, Green Arrow in general, he looks nice on the shelf. You're getting him to play with, you're barking up the wrong tree. This is not a toy that's going to be fun to play with. It's just, you know, only his arms can move. He's kind of stiff. But he looks kind of nice on the shelf. So, yeah, I mean, if you see him, I'd pay $7 for him. I know he's kind of big, but he doesn't do anything. And the paint job really isn't that nice. Oh, that is nice that they did that. Alright, so I'm going to say, you know, pick up Grimlock, definitely. This one, if you can find on discount, it's worth getting just to put on display. Okay. Hello. Sorry, I just want to make sure I was recording. Okay. My video. Sorry, I'm playing my laptop. Okay, I will try not to do the sudden jerky movements. People complained about that with the Grimlock. Sorry. But I did the video where I asked for people to, you know, review me, which I've gotten awesome feedback from. Thank you guys so much for doing that. But a common thing that I've gotten, I got it in a couple of those videos, I've gotten a couple comments, I've gotten a couple messages. People want me to show my room, which is weird because I kind of already showed my room. But also, I know I'm kind of hyper. I haven't slept. Sorry. So I guess I'm going to show off my entire room, because people asked about, like, books and stuff. Now, obviously, I showed you my comic books. I don't really have them sorted in any particular fashion, just to look, there's my Peter David Hulks. They're just kind of divided by company, and grouped in you know, I have Punisher here, and then I just have Deadpool, and you know, all the Hulks are here. Not in any alphabetical order, just grouped really kind of together. Here's my Hellblazers, and my company Batman. Batman's missing a lot. My Batman is bigger, but I have a number of Batman books out or lent out, so it's kind of smaller as Batman R.I.P. And then, you know, this is where DC ends, because I count Vertigo as part of DC, so I've kind of all the Vertigo there, and then it goes into DC. Then, you know, I have the first 3 Dritz comics. I haven't gotten the rest of them just because I haven't gotten around to it. I have my Hellboys, which I'm missing 2 of. Freshman, Spawn, Wanted, Madman. I don't know why these Spawns aren't together. This is the one that Phil gave me. G.I. Joe. Volume 2 is somewhere else. Fallen Angel. Fist of the North Star Volume 1. One of the many things I've gotten Volume 1 of and never continued. But the reason I didn't continue is because it was discontinued. It's like 12 volumes and only 6 were released in America. Okay, Summer Night. Haha, bookmark's still on it. The Shadow. If you see these at your bookstore, or if you buy them offline, get them. These are awesome. First of all, just the way it's made is really cool. It's really kind of like old school, like pulpy. It has 2 pulps in it. It's written kind of like the Bible with the rose, and there's like pictures in them. Isn't that cool? There we go. There's kind of more of a. And what's really cool is that you can kind of like roll this up and like put it in your pocket. It's really designed to be able to do that, like old pulps. Hey, look, I have a calculator. Turn that trigger. Here's my The Savage Tales of Solomon Kane. Solomon Kane rules. Alright, so then we get into my books. Now, my books I actually used to have a lot more of, but I weeded out to books I'd either read or intended to read. You know, I got The Dead Zone there. I've got The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker. I have an Anne Rice there, Anne Rice there. I don't know why these aren't sorted. I have the first book of The Gunslinger. George Orwell. DC Universe. I have this, which I got at yard sale. It's Bart Simpson's Guide to Life. It's missing pages. I have the first 2 volumes of Trandy Blood. I have the first volume of Conan, as released in the 60s. Interview with the Vampire. Death Masks, which is the next Dresden book I have to read. Full Moon, which is the second Dresden book. Proven Guilty, which I randomly bought at the airport last year. I don't know why, because it's like book 6. No, it's not like book 6, it's like book 8. This is kind of fun. If you ever see something like this, Lone Wolf, kind of fun. Wow, I've been going on for 4 minutes just on my bookshelf. I guess I should hurry this up. I had a couple volumes of DBZ, first 3 volumes of One Piece, some Trigun, Battle Angel Alita Volume 1, which I've actually been requested to review quite a few times, and I just haven't gotten around to buying the rest of the volumes. I want to finish at least the first 3, which is what the movie will be based off of. Vampire Indeed, and a Piece of Paper, Runaways Volume 1, Kevin Smith, Silent Bob Speaks. This is an awesome book. I haven't read the second one, but this one's fun. I have Macbeth here, in both the original Shakespearean and translated to normal English. Which, I don't know if anybody's ever tried to read Shakespeare, but Shakespeare is hard to read. Like, I don't think Shakespeare is that hard to watch. There was an awesome, Kenneth Branagh did an awesome portrayal of Hamlet, where it was basically word for word the play. And it's really not that hard to follow, but reading Shakespeare I find to be hard. Here I have Dune, which is another awesome book. This is one of those books I was going to read, and I was like, it's old, you know, maybe it won't be good, but this is an excellent book. The Drawing of the Three. I have the other Dark Tower books around here somewhere, I'm not sure where. Posters. I have a Punisher one there. I have this, well, see, I have this kind of like kite thing here. It came from Japan. It's just kind of hanging on this Daredevil. It's not really a poster, it's actually a calendar, but I like the picture. I have a Punisher up there. Here's my my Green Arrow. Garfield, sculpted by my grandmother. A broken Darth Vader mug from when I was a child. Bunch of Star Wars stamps. This was a letter, or this was an envelope I got for my birthday a couple years back. My little Boba Fett, very small Boba Fett collection. Christmas ornament, M&M, Pez dispenser. My uncle, far, far away. My dad, me. And look, the Punisher again. Indiana Jones, from when they first released the DVD set. Next to, I showed you Lost Boys. I have Gravitation poster, which I ripped out of a library book. I have a bootleg Godzilla poster. It is epic. Yes. It's Godzilla, but they can't call it Godzilla, so it's King of Lizards. Attack the Giant Dust Bunnies, which I ripped out of a Nickelodeon magazine years and years and years ago, and I still like the poster. Again, Punisher. I bought the Punisher poster book. I don't remember what this came out of. It is Predator 2. I don't necessarily particularly like Predator 2, but there's all these cool little like design things on here, and I just kind of had to put them on my wall. My door here, I have a guitar case, and I have a Led Zeppelin Stairway to Heaven. I used to be heavier into classic rock than I am now. I guess I should, I have two guitars. I have that one. I have that one. I have this epic amp. I play neither of them well. I have a heating pad because, you know, it's really comfortable to go to sleep on a warm, like, pillow when it's cold. Backpack. Look, I have X-Men there. I don't even know why that. I have X-Factor as well. Chrono Trigger rulebook over there, and a shoe. Yes, I have shoes. Here, this is also from Japan. I haven't been to Japan, but my neighbors went. I specifically requested they got me one of these, because I always wanted one of these because I was a big fan of Raiden. I mean, it has this little blue stripe thing, which I don't really like, but, you know, I can kind of wear it, and not see the blue stripe. I'm sure I just made myself look like a fool on the internet. Over here, I have a bunch of crap. National Review. Justice League International. I have some just random books. D&D. Iron Man. Fireworks! Look, there's fireworks! Highlander. Rubber band gun. National Review again. Buffy. Pen. Lighter. Awesome pellet gun that looks like a real one. Let me get in the light. This was originally, I wanted to get a camera and shoot like a movie or like a short film or something. I was going to use this because it looks really realistic. It's an airsoft gun, but it looks awesome. And if I ever get a worthwhile camera, I'm going to use it. DBZ. You can't really see that, but it's kind of DBZ. There's my Dritz book. There's I actually tore that out of the comic book because I like that page that much. I want to get it framed. Hellsing. I'm missing volume 9. Punisher again. Oh, well, I have a Punisher poster, but I kind of have them symmetrical. Hold on, see, look. My room is messy. That's all my dirty laundry. I apologize for that. Let me throw this in here. This is actually going to be much longer than I thought it would be. Okay. See, watch. When you close my closet doors, I kind of have this symmetrical thing going with the two Punisher posters. Aren't I clever? Opening this back up. Here are my DVDs. There are many, and there are many missing. I mean, there's these gaps here, but I also have these kind of piles. It was alphabetized, but then I went on my trip, and I took like a bunch of movies, and I went on other trips, and I took other movies. And so I just kind of never got them fully. There's Bleach Season 1. Back Together, there's the Macross Saga. I'm missing a couple of them. I mean, I have them, but they're not here. Look, Transformers. The hated movie. I have X-Files season. Sherlock Holmes. Seinfeld. Robot Chicken. There's that. Over here, Nerf guns. And yes, I have bamboo shades. How cool is that? Yeah, I know. And I have these things. It's a wooden sword. It's kind of beat up because I've actually used it to fight with. It has these really cool markings on it along the side. This is a short sword, as you can kind of see. Put that up there. See, I leave them on top of my bamboo shades. I have lightsabers there. CD there. Kind of random. A lot of them aren't mine. Here I have, yeah, see, this dude, missing parts. But I keep them because I do. I have books here, Air Gear, which I will eventually finish the first 5 volumes. I'm on volume 4. I will finish them. I will review them. I borrowed them from a friend. I have this kind of Christian poster because I thought it looked cool. There's my bed. There's my computer. See all that? Alright, now I'm stepping onto my bed. And see, we have a long version of that sword. I have this cross thing I've had since I was a kid. And we're back to the bamboo shades. That's my room. You all asked me to show it? There it is. Yes, very not neat and tidy. I apologize. I mean, look. Look, there's the stack of books that I read from when I did my voiceover thing that nobody liked. So, yeah, this is my room. There. Okay, an addendum to my room. Yes, it's much later now, see? It's dark. I open my shade. See? It's dark. It's alright. Okay. Now, I will try to hold... Sorry, I had to make sure I didn't press the button. I will try to hold it normally now. Because I kept holding it like this before, because it feels more comfortable, but apparently that doesn't show up well on YouTube. You have to tilt your camera to the side to see me. So try to hold it like this. Reason I'm doing this because I realized I missed something huge. Actually, 2 things I kind of missed. First of all, on this dresser here, which I showed you before, I know, I have sticky notes. I used to have more, but every time I come up with an idea or a phrase, or hell, at one point I actually have the a birthday here. So I remember it. That's what these are, so I remember things. Which is kind of weird. I actually haven't looked at a lot of those in a while, because I have this tendency to, if I want to remember something, I won't remember it. If I write it down, I remember it, and I don't need the written thing, so it's weird. But I realized I left out something huge. I own a brown coat. Look at that. Now, granted, that's not where the name comes from. It comes from Firefly. But still, I do own a brown coat. I've worn it occasionally. Like, I'll go through periods where I just wear the coat everywhere. And people always look at me weird and ask me, like, why are you wearing a coat in the middle of July? Because I feel like it. I haven't actually worn it in a while. But, yeah, every once in a while I'll wear it just because. Coats are awesome. Long coats particularly. I want to get a black one, but I have no money. And even if I had money, I spent on comic books, so... Yeah, oh, the other thing I didn't show you guys. Look at this. Fistful of boomstick. So somebody asked me to do video game reviews. I'm sorry, I don't play a lot of video games. I really, really don't. I might do something for Final Fantasy IX, because I feel like game's underrated. But look at this. These are, I can't really listen to these anymore because they're tapes and I don't have them, but these are the original radio broadcasts for Star Wars, and they're really interesting to listen to because they came out before the special edition, but they make references to stuff like the Jabba the Hutt scene and whatnot. Also, I have the Alex Ross drawing book thing. I have American Gods, the audiobook. It's an awesome book. Must read, must listen to, something like that. And I have these books. I forgot about these. I have the Richard Bachman books, the first 4 Richard Bachman books. I have the first 2 books of the Elric saga, which are kind of the only 2 that I feel are necessary, because it's the Elric saga. Everything else is just kind of side stories that either take place before or in between. These 2 cover the actual story. And I kind of like the artwork on the covers. They're very kind of not normal, but they're still cool. If you don't know who Elric is, he's kind of like this albino wizard guy who has this like vampire sword. Pretty cool. The Weird 100, which is just a lot of like really cool weird things. It's an encyclopedia of occultism. The encyclopedia of witchcraft and demonology. Sergeant Dracula. Silent Blade. My dictionary, which is more epic than your dictionary, because, well, two things. One, Garfield comics. Two, in the very, very back is a special version of the dictionary, as written by Garfield. See? Like, let's randomly pick a word. Where's the one? Like, here we go. Diet. Like die with a T. An eating program that removes excess pounds and your will to live. Yeah, so my dictionary is cooler than your dictionary. Also, these are where the other Dark Tower books are, at least two of them. Okay, I think that covers everything. Oh wait, I guess, also, I have a tie. Because I like ties. I don't know why, but I enjoy wearing ties. Alright, I think that's it. I shouldn't have to do another one of these. Also, something I forgot to mention before is this, is symmetry. See, I have that Christian poster there, but I also have it, like, on the other side, I have the Punisher in kind of like a cross position that is intentional. I thought it was kind of cool. I have this thing for symmetry, and I also have more Punisher posters here, because I bought the poster book, and hey, why not put up posters? So, okay. That's it. I think. I'm probably not going to do another one of these. Because... And yes, I know, my hair is... I took a shower, so my hair is wet, so it's not as everywhere as it normally is. I actually like my hair better wet. I think that's it. Okay. I was asked to clean my room. By someone. So I have. Because I'm such a nice guy. So you guys all get to see what my room looks like clean. Bookshelf looks mostly the same. It's more filled out now. Like, I actually can't put any more. Well, I have a little bit of room because I moved I have the first volume of the Heroes comics. I moved it from here to down here because I don't think it should really count as a Vertigo book. So, and also I wanted to add a little bit of room. But this is freaking packed. I'm gonna have to really start using the shelf. Mountain Dew. This is awesome. I haven't tried the red one. The blue one is fantastic. I haven't tried the red one because I heard it was not as good. I kind of moved the air gear over here. This desk, obviously, a bit more clean. Next to my bed, as you can see, there's a shoe. I don't really wear those shoes, but here's the vacuum I just used. Oh, somebody asked about this. Okay, you see this fan? I spent $200 in this fan when I was like 11 when we made my room. That was the biggest waste of money I've ever had. See, I got it has this awesome blue light. You can't see anything with that. But somebody asked about this. Yes, I have a wind chime attached to it. I find it soothing and peaceful. And no, I didn't clean my bed because I'm going to sleep in it. And I'm a child. Here. Not really that different. This is all picked up. Well, yeah, it's kind of messy there, but Johnny Rotten's autobiography. As you can see there. Over here, all clean. This is much more clean. Not completely clean, but more clean. This is still, the same. And then in here I kind of, my DVDs also, I'm going to either need to stop buying DVDs, or, get a new shelf, or double stack the DVDs, I guess. Not sure if there's enough room for that. Let's see. Anything else change? Well, I found these. I don't know if you can see these. But these are sunglasses. Kind of. Nope, they're falling. Sunglasses. They're kind of those, let me get in the light. Yeah, you see that? It's awesome. Those were bought for me by my cousin. And these sunglasses I like to wear. They're red. Alright, this is a review for the Rise of Cobra Storm Shadow. I got this and Cobra Commander. I'm hoping to get the rest of just the Cobras. I'll get Destro and Baroness, and Zartan, and maybe a couple of the Vipers. But so far I just got these two. This is how I keep them posed. Now, there's a holster for the gun here, but it kind of hinders the movement of turning a little bit. Which, obviously, I don't play with it, but I'm assuming that would be bad if you were trying to play. This here, this hand, it came like this. I had to take a knife to it so that it can hold the sword. Or anything. I pose him with the sword. Both swords go in there very nicely. They fit very nice. I almost wish I had 4 swords, because I like to pose them with the swords, but I also think they look very nice in the backpack. I guess. Oh, I don't take that sword out. He also came with this bear claw thing, which doesn't fit as well once you take the knife to it, to the hand. Like, it fits fine before, but doesn't matter. I wasn't going to use it anyways. I mean, would you really pose a guy with that? He comes with this, which I don't recall him using in the movie, but it's still kind of a cool looking rifle thing. Then he comes with this gun, which, I don't know if you can see that very well. It's actually very well detailed. You can't really see it on this camera because it's bad quality, but it's very nicely detailed. And it fits very well in the little holster. And then it comes with this, which, this thing's freaking huge. I have no idea how he's supposed to hold this. But it's fun to shoot people with. On the whole, I really like him. I think he's got a lot of nice detailing. I think he's a really good figure. I don't tend to pick up any of the variants, although I do kind of like the look of the one for Storm Shadow without the mask. But on the whole, I'd say pick him up. He's a nice little display piece, and I'm sure he'd be fine to play with, like all the Joe toys are, if that's what you're looking for. One thing I did find interesting is that they all, or at least the 2 I got, they turn here at the center of the body instead of at the waist. I thought that was kind of strange, but maybe that's just me. Alright, so this is a review for the Cobra Commander figure for Rise of Cobra. I forgot to mention in my last video, I didn't bring up the stand, which all of them have, but I put my Cobra Commander, they're like dog tags. I put it on this chain, and I wear it because I'm lame. Cobra Commander comes with, this Cobra and a big missile launcher, and this little device thing, which I wish there was a place to store it on him, because maybe there is. Is there a back spot? Ooh, I wonder if that fits there. Sorry. I don't know of a place where the device is stored on him, unless it fits right here in this peg here. No, it doesn't. Okay. Yeah, I don't know of a place where it's stored on him. I don't actually know where to put this, because it has this little peg thing. And it doesn't fit in his hand. So, I have no idea where that goes. Alright, he also comes with this little pistol, which is very nice. And this nanite needle thing, which is kind of cool and threatening looking. It also has the little peg thing. Don't know what that's for, because I don't find any like peg joint or anything, except I don't find any peg joint in it, except for right there, but I'm pretty sure that's a screw. Anyways, the figure itself, very nice. The jacket is like a rubbery whatever material, and that's very cool. It's got the cobra symbol. My only complaint is the mask here. You can see like the face inside, which I don't particularly care for because in the movie and every picture I've seen of Cobra Commander, it's just white. It's like clear, and then you can see the eyes, which you can barely see on the figure. I mean, this camera doesn't really show it, but you can kind of see the eyes on the figure. But here you kind of see the face. Whatever, I actually really like this figure. I'd highly recommend picking this up. I've heard it's hard to find, but I got it at Walmart. There was like 4 of them. And there's also, you know, the chest piece detailing. And he would turn if he did turn, but he doesn't because of the jacket. But on the whole, I think this is a terrific figure. I think it looks great. And this look for Cobra Commander has really grown on me. I've actually really come to like this look with the mask and whatnot. So, yeah, if you're looking to pick up any of these figures, I think this is a terrific figure. I'd highly recommend picking this up.
Oh, hello there. This is Redshirt Eric from the Crisis team on Geekvolution. I thought maybe it was time for you guys to get to know me a little bit better. I know I'm not on the channel a lot, and some people know me from my own channel, but not a lot of people know me from here. And so I thought the best way to do that would be with some questions from the rest of the Crisis team. So I got each of the Crisis team members to ask me a question, and I'm going to answer them. Lo asks me, what is something you're embarrassed to be a fan of? A.K.A., you know, guilty pleasure. I think probably the thing that's my biggest guilty pleasure is the first Dungeons & Dragons movie. I actually like all 3 of the Dungeons & Dragons movies, but the second and third one aren't actually terrible. They're just really low budget. The first one's pretty moderately budgeted for the time it came out, and it's just one of the worst movies ever made, especially something that was supposed to be a blockbuster release, and I can't get enough of it. I can watch that movie any day. If someone wants to watch Dungeons & Dragons, I'm totally down. If somebody hasn't seen Dungeons & Dragons, oh man, you need to see this movie. It's probably my favorite bad movie of all time. It's certainly not the worst movie, and maybe it's because I'm a D&D guy that, like, on top of it being a terrible movie, it's a bad D&D movie, so, like, I have, like, multiple layers of humor. But yeah, it's a really terrible movie. It's hard to explain. Like, I genuinely love this film. But I love it because it's bad, so it's kind of hard to explain that to people. So I think that would definitely be like my guilty pleasure, is that is my absolute favorite bad movie. Manos asked me, what film would you like to see made into a comic? And I actually had to think about this. I had so many different answers for things that I think would be really cool to move from film to comic, and the one that I think would be the coolest, and only I would buy. Like, I don't think anybody else would buy it. Like, it would just be for me. I would love to see someone do a series of miniseries that are the Jack Slater films from Last Action Hero. Those films are supposed to be such, like, bombastic, cliched, like, action movies that I feel like somebody could have a lot of fun turning, you know, kind of, you get a very little bit of the plot of a couple of them in the films, or in the film, and so I'm sure there's a little bit you could play with there, off of what they said in the film, and I'm sure there's at least 1 or 2 of them that they don't give us the plot of at all. So yeah, I would love to see someone do that. I feel like it would be a perfect, just like over the top satirical action movie comic book, and I think it'd be a lot of fun. It would only really work if they could get the likenesses to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, I feel like if it was just generic muscle guy, it wouldn't be as much fun. They'd have to get Arnold Schwarzenegger's likenesses for the comic. But yeah, I don't know. I think that would be a lot of fun. Cap wants to know who's a director I love that doesn't get enough work. This is probably the easiest question because it's got to be John Carpenter. John Carpenter is my favorite director of all time, and he's made one movie in the past 10 years. To be fair, not a particularly well-reviewed movie or well-regarded film, but John Carpenter, back in the 80s and the 70s, he was the master of making films that felt bigger than they were. He made really low-budget films or really moderately budgeted films that felt as big and as good as anything else. You know, Big Trouble in Little China is certainly a much smaller budgeted film than Indiana Jones, but I don't think it's any less entertaining or even really epic in scope. Well, I mean, Indiana Jones has more locations. Big Trouble in Little China is set in Chinatown, but um, I think The Thing, which isn't a particularly large budgeted film, is just as good and looks just as good as Alien. Um, I would love to see what John Carpenter would do in the modern age, where you can kind of do anything. Even with a smaller budget because of special effects, you can kind of do anything. I would love to see John Carpenter just get to let loose in the modern day. I wouldn't be surprised if Marvel tapped him to do a movie. Marvel likes to take people who are kind of past their prime and kickstart their career. I mean, they mostly do it with actors, but I would love to see John Carpenter do a Marvel film, and I'd love to see John Carpenter just do more movies. So yeah, John Carpenter doesn't get enough work because John Carpenter doesn't get work. Rasco wants to know what past movie release do you wish you were alive to experience? I feel like my answer is going to be really obvious. I don't want it to feel like a cop-out, but it's got to be Star Wars. Star Wars, probably more than anything, is buried so deeply in my DNA. I have been watching Star Wars since I was a 3-year-old child. And I would love to be there to see the film in its original viewing. I would also love to see just that everyone going in not expecting anything, with no hype or anticipation, and getting their minds blown. I'm not sure there's ever been a film like that in my lifetime, where people had no expectations for it, or possibly even openly ridiculed it. You know, they talk about in a lot of the Star Wars documentaries that, you know, they'd show trailers and people would make fun of them in the theaters. I can't think of another film, at least not one in my lifetime, that had no expectations and then became, you know, kind of the biggest movie of all time. I would love to see that. I would love to see that film with a crowd for the first time. Dan asks me, which version of Green Arrow do I view as the definitive take? My favorite take is certainly the Mike Grell stuff from the 80s. That's kind of who I think of when I think of Green Arrow. But I think the definitive take is probably Kevin Smith's take on Green Arrow. Kevin Smith kind of went back and looked at all of the various versions of the character and takes on the character, with, you know, Mike Grell's and Dennis O'Neill's and the pre-Goatee era, and even the Chuck Dixon stuff where Ollie dies and Connor takes over. He kind of looked at all of that and kind of boiled it all down to a consistent, singular character. Because while Dennis O'Neill's Green Arrow was similar to Mike Grell's Green Arrow kind of leans more libertarian, is a little bit more lethal than Dennis O'Neill's. It's a similar character, but it's not the same take on the character. I think Kevin Smith really did a great job of mining all of that material and coming out with a definitive version. So much so that I think the rest of that book, into Brad Meltzer's arc and then Judd Winnick's run, they're all doing that same take as Kevin Smith did. None of them come on the book and radically try to reinvent the character or go, well, I just like the Mike Grau run, so I'm just going to write more of that. They all just kind of seem to agree that Kevin Smith had kind of perfectly synthesized all of the various takes on the character into a singular version. So I would actually say Kevin Smith's Green Arrow is probably the definitive take on the character. And finally, Steve asks, what's something that I hated at first and then came to love? This is probably the hardest question. I really had to think of something. I wanted something that I really, really hated, and then I now really, really love. Not just something that like I saw it and I was like, like that's not particularly good. You know, when I first watched the Blade films, I didn't particularly love them, and now I like the first two Blade films quite a bit. I didn't want something like that. I wanted something that I really, really hated, and now I love. I think probably Nirvana is probably the best example of this. As a teenager, I absolutely hated Nirvana. I thought they were really whiny. I didn't like their music, which is really ironic given that, you know, I was a big fan of Linkin Park as a teenager. But I didn't like them. I really, really didn't. I had a friend, we used to make jokes that, you know, Nirvana would make your ears bleed, like it's so bad. And then I'm not sure what happened or even when it happened, but at some point in time, it was like I was just struck by a lightning bolt. And like I got it. I got what makes the band great. I got what makes the music great. I got their importance and their cultural impact. And that they're, you know, I've come to really appreciate and love that band for what it was and what it's done. I mean, I don't know any other band that like all of Nirvana's songs are on the radio. Like, you know, there's lots of bands where like, well, almost all bands really, you know, they've got their really popular songs get played on the radio, and then like there's the hardcore fans who are like, well, that stuff's fine, but you know, their really good stuff is on the album. And I certainly have that feeling about a lot of bands. I think every single Nirvana song from all of their albums are played frequently on the radio. I can't think of another band that has that. And it's just, I mean, I'm not saying that like that's the sole reason that like I like them, but like that's I've gained such respect and love for the band. That was me answering some questions. So you know, hopefully you guys get to know me a little bit better. This is Browncoat Eric signing off.